Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome, Bear, to our first one-on-one. We've been on a million shows together, but
We really have.
I always want to do a one-on-one with people I consider good friends, or
Okay.
people I want to be good friends. And finally, we get to do a little something that helps you out. We're going to talk about your new game, Valorous. I read the most of the book, uh, and I skipped stuff on dwarves and things
Just
like that.
silly. You're missing such great lore, but it's okay.
No. I'm just we talked. I'm going to make a character in this show, and if we run late and we can't do that, we can always come back next week and plug your thing again. Because I like a lot of what you did, but a lot of it is completely incomprehensible to my Cro-Magnon brain. So
Mm.
figure that out, especially since I'm going to be playing not this week, but I believe next week in your heroic game, which I'm
Yes, you
really
will.
looking forward to. Now, before we get into the regular questions, I hope you don't mind, but I want to ask one question because I
Sure.
really don't know the answer to this. How'd you get your start in role playing games? Just playing
As
them?
a person,
Yeah, just as a player, as a kid.
so when I was young, I had heard about. So now we're talking like 13, so 83. I had
Mhm.
heard about role playing games. I knew nothing. I was a country boy. Knew nothing about them. Knew they existed. Had heard about all the satanic panic stuff and the mazes and monsters and all that goofy shit. And then we were taking one of my sisters to college. My father and I drove her up. This would be Welland, Ontario. So it's been 84. So I was 14. And while they were running around doing college stuff, I was, here's $50 for, lunch and shopping, go see a movie, spend the day wandering around Welland, Ontario. I'm like, okay. It's kind of my family. I was very independent very early on. And I wandered into a comic book gaming store, like you would at the age of 14. And I saw
Well,
the red box and I picked it up and I said, I want to play, I want to get this. And the guy says, oh, you don't want that. I said, why not? He goes, well, that's the basic version. You want the advanced version. I'm 14. I'm easily sold by that nonsense. So I bought the player's handbook for AD&D. Well, I would have been much better served buying the red box because at 14, that book was I read it and I was like, I have no idea what I'm talking. There's no real good example of play or any of that garbage. Okay. A year later, I moved to Montreal to go to high school, and I meet this guy, Sam, who's still a friend of mine to this day. He's a professor now at St. Francis Xavier in Nova Scotia. Go X-Men. And he's like, oh, you want to play role-playing games? I said, sure, I've never played, but I'd love to play D&D. He goes, oh, well, yeah, we got a game. Great. And this other guy, because it's the first day of school, we're all hanging out, grade 9. So the guy Ross goes, well, I run a game in Star Trek. And I'm like, well, I've watched Star Trek. That's interesting. I've seen a couple of the movies in the theater. And he said, well, we have a Star Trek game. You should come play. I said, okay. And I wound up playing Star Trek as my first role-playing game. Faster Trek, which is over here on my shelf. Can't see it for the framing. And I was hooked. I was instantly hooked on role-playing games. Played a couple of D&D games. Wasn't really my jam. We played Middle Earth role-playing and Star Trek were the two games I played the most. And then a year later, or about a year later, so late 86, maybe early autumn 86, I picked up Champions, 3rd edition, which I have up here on the shelf. And I was lost. I was absolutely, my brain, like the point buy system and how to make an elemental power table and all, and I was lost. And I went back to the gaming store to get something else to read the next day after school. And I saw Villains and Vigilantes, and I picked that up. And for some reason, my brain understood V&V much better than Champions. So that started, and I was already a superhero fan, so that started my love of superhero RPGs. And I ran V&V until I want to say 89. And then someone introduced me to the Marvel superheroes. The advanced set had just come out, which is right there. There's also the other ones there. And I was changed. My V&V campaign immediately changed to a Marvel campaign, and I ran that almost exclusively. Well, I've been running that, including the Heroic, which is an adaptation of that, since, I guess. So I've been running games technically since 86, been role-playing since 85, and been running superhero games since 86, and exclusively the phase rip engine, as everyone likes to call it, since 89-ish. Also ran some Cyberpunk, and then of course in the '90s I played everything, ran everything, and did everything. But
Hmm.
that was how I got into it.
Interesting. I'm actually looking at the basic box and the expert box just because I thought the rule cyclopedia was the same thing, and I
Oh yeah.
know I gotta know what's the difference so I can have opinions and not just be you know saying shit because I still love AD&D, but there's things I like more, but they
Hmm.
aren't as popular, so I don't get to run them, or I'm waiting on contractual obligations, etc. So you made since I backed Heroic, you're working on that, and then you decide to do Valorous, obviously for the reasons you've talked about before. Um, so how's it going?
Well,
What's the latest updates?
Heroic has been a what I like to call a money pit
Sure.
because of the amount of art, and we got screwed over by a bunch of stuff, and like we just took a beating. Which is why it's still in layout and art. And with money being tight, the art budget is when it comes in, we have some art money, we buy some art, and then we don't have money, we just keep working on the layout because Craig's working really hard over in the UK on it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
So I got this crazy idea in my head, seeing all these BX clones flying around. And every time someone puts up a BX clone on Kickstarter or BackerKit, they make $100,000, $50,000,
Mhm.
200,000, $500,000. Some people made $1,000,000, whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. And I said to myself, I said, okay, well, that's what I'll do. I've been kicking around my own BX for over a decade, and I've got some ideas, and I'll do that, and I'll make a BX clone, and I'll get it out, and that'll just be a money funnel for whatever money I can make off of it into the art. No. The world doesn't need another fucking BX clone, pardon my French. There's
I
enough of
I
them. Enough.
I would tend
You
to
know?
agree. I can't agree from experience, like I just discussed. But um, I got to ask. First question on our list: what is your game or project offer the gaming community that no other product offers?
Well, I think okay, so that's a really um how about I tell you what it is versus what it isn't, and then we'll see if I find what it offers within that description.
Okay.
One of the things I loved in the 90s and I miss to this day is every game came with a setting. If you picked up Traveler 2300, you weren't buying the Traveler 2300 rule set, you were buying the Traveler 2300 setting, and here are the rules that go with it. Twilight 2000, here are the rules that go with it. Vampire the Masquerade, here are the rules that go with it. Brave New World, here's the rules that go with it. And I miss that. I miss when settings in games were combined things. We
Hmm.
didn't play GURPS. We didn't play generic games. We played Star Wars D6. We played Cyberpunk. We played Star Trek. We played, all this type of stuff. The only thing that was ever generic was D&D. Everything else, Middle Earth role playing had a setting, Middle Earth, right? And I missed that, so I decided to do that. And then as I realized, because that's I think something that's missing in our world right now is actually quality settings. We have all these clones. We don't have any good
That's why
settings.
that's why
You're
Jackie and
into
I made
Ardwin, I know. Yeah,
a
your
little.
big Ardwin thing. So
No,
I
no, no,
decided
no,
to
no.
do that.
We came up with an idea, uh, which was going to be, and we're still working on it. It's going to be nothing but system agnostic setting. Shadow
But
and
that's
Sun
the thing.
system.
I didn't want to do system agnostic. I don't like system agnostic. I want system as well. So that's
Mhm.
why I did this. And then I listened to the fan base after plugging away at the BX, and I used the heroic engine with the color chart and the whole, ye old color chart
Mhm.
and the whole shebang. And I created what I would say is either the first, or if not the first, the best phase rip based fantasy role playing game. And this is Valorous.
Is there are there
Valorous,
any other
sorry?
are there any other face rip fantasy games out there? I wouldn't know.
There might be. I don't know either. But I
Oh,
know
okay.
people said they wanted one, so I made them one essentially, and I made
Mhm.
them Valorous. The other thing I did was added a setting, and the other thing I did that no one else was offering, and this is a big thing for me, I am here, if not here, I think here, but I'm pretty much here with Grim Shadow Dark Edge, the role playing game, Darky Adventures in Shadow Grimland, the adventure game. I'm so sick to death of this edgelord grimmer than thou crap, Mork Borg, and all
Yeah,
this stuff. I'm
I
exhausted with
despised it the second I saw it. There has
yeah.
to be contrast.
So that's what Valorous is. It's in the name, it's in the concept. And when you pick up Valorous, as I know you all will, after you get past the glossary and you turn to the introduction in the book, you're going to get the mission statement. And the mission statement explains what this game is about, why I made this game, what the whole concept of heroic fantasy role-playing game, etc., etc., etc. are. And if that ain't good enough for you, well, Shadow Fuck McGrim Stab Faces waiting for you at Drive Through RPG. This is not the game for you. If you come to me and you say, why can't I play a half orc? Because this is a game of heroic role playing, and half orcs are part of evil because of the orc things being evil. Therefore, there are plenty of games out there for you. This is not the game for you. But I want to play a drow. Well, there are no drow as far as we know in the setting because we've certainly not revealed anything about them, and therefore they're not available as a character player race. And if you don't like it, this is not the game for you. But if you want to play heroes, mostly humans, but with non-humans who actually add flavor and uniqueness and aren't just, ooh, let's go to the Elven Bakery, and then after that we'll stop at the Halfling Tea Shop, and then head on over to the Dwarf Entertainment Center, but actually where the humans are the humans and the non-humans are part of the culture, but not just different humans.
Mm-hmm. Skin suits.
Yeah, Planet of the Hat. If you want to play a game where you are expected to do the right thing, to sacrifice, to not be a murder hobo out for self-aggrandization, where gathering treasure is irrelevant, where killing things for experience is irrelevant and not part of the game, this is the game for you. If you don't like that, well, not the game for you. And I'm okay with that. I set out to make a game that was not for everybody, but for people like myself who would like to see a return to actual heroic fantasy, and heroic fantasy not meaning I can stab guys real good, but meaning I do the right thing.
Yeah, we lost our way as a collective a long time ago. I remember, all the games I played in the early days. It was always about, being the good guy. I want to be the good
Obey
guy.
my dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna let my dumb dog in, even though, okay, now he's back downstairs. Hopefully he'll be quiet. Yeah, I miss that. Playing the good guys. Just he's disagreeing with me. Yes, I am famous for playing bad guys, but that's what happens. Now he's in. That's what happens when you are the eternal GM. I found that all those eternal GMs wanted to cut loose, but they wanted to cut loose as playing the bad guy, or the
No,
rogue or the scoundrel,
no.
at least for a little while, and then they'll go back to running another game. I assume.
Not me, baby. When I play, I want to be heroic. I want to be a good guy. Even if my character's gruff and mean and rough and tumble, heart of gold. There to do the right thing.
You just gotta scratch off that chocolate layer first.
Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do.
So, just for the record, folks, these are all questions I ask everybody that I more or less interview. Uh, so, number
It's weird.
two, I
I'm
got.
usually on the other side of this conversation because of my channel, so it's kind of weird for me to be going through this, but it's interesting.
Well, you know what? You deserve it. Someone should have done this a long time ago. You're an interesting guy,
Well, thank
and
you.
you've got interesting things to say, and now you've got interesting things to share with folks that they can hold in their hot little hands and bring to their own table and bring to their own group, and maybe get the collective mindset of the hobby back on track of being good guys instead of
Well,
being
look,
murder hobos. I mean, we had to
I
come
hear
up
what
with
you're
a.
saying, but I don't have any I don't have any grand illusions about that. It is what it is. It's a game. You'll see it says bare bones edition. What does that mean? It's a complete full game. It just doesn't have all the fluff and flavor text that you'd expect. It's very
Yeah,
blunt.
I got a couple of questions and corrections
Oh,
because it's
lots of mistakes, I'm sure.
well, it says there's no art.
Yeah, that was before we put art in. So, oh well,
You might
things
want to
change.
change that. Just saying because
Yeah.
people think they're hallucinating.
So
Yeah,
there's a
we'll wait.
lovely expression I learned working on Valorous, which is, yeah, it's a second edition problem, which is how I feel about a lot of stuff. That's a second edition problem. We'll
Well,
deal with
before
that.
you do second edition, make sure you're good, you're golden, and you're done, and never do it again. Second
There,
editions on
there
so
will
many
not
things.
be a there will not be a second edition Shadow unless this suddenly turns into an amazing seller. You know what I mean? If suddenly I've got like 500 copies sold, okay, now we'll talk about a second edition.
Sorry,
As it
folks. There's nothing I
stands,
can do. As soon as I close the door, he's going to come scratching at it. Some people freak out, but it's not like I'm torturing the dog. That comes later when the show's over and I vent my frustrations.
I'm
He's
down,
just doing
Hassan.
his job. He's just doing his job. So because we all do the Discord thing now, I know this question is kind of self evident, but maybe not. And that being, what sort of support does your game offer in the way of back and forth communication, feedback, or inclusion to your own circle of designers, players, or other contributors like Facebook, Discord, or one-on-one communication? Excuse me, for the resolution of questions, disputes, or the inclusion to future product ideas.
So Discord, obviously, I have my Discord, the Society of Role Playing Gamers, the TSRPG. I have a whole section on Valorous there. Happy to answer questions. Happy to talk to people there. You can reach me on Facebook at Zeg Media. I think that's what we call it. I can't remember. Zeg is Zenith Entertainment Group, which is my company. So Z-Nuts fans of Zeg Media, which is facebook.com/group/Zenith Comics, because I started all this nonsense publishing a couple of comics. I answer questions there. My Bear the Gen X GM, my YouTube channel. I talk about this stuff over there. You can come talk to me there and ask questions. So lots of ways to get a hold of me. Lots of ways to talk to me. I'm always happy to talk to people about it. Right? Like I'm not a self promoter. I'm not one of those people that's so delusional that I have to constantly be telling you how awesome everything I do is and why you're going to give me all your money and then and that. I hate that. I don't like to shill. But I love to talk about something I've created. I love to share interest with people, and I love to share that sort of excitement. Right? So if you want to talk to me, man, find me on any of those sources, and I'll happily talk to you.
Okay.
Happily.
Obviously, since you're at the point you're at, you're not really looking for submissions or things like that.
Oh
But
God, no, no.
what if somebody had the idea for an adventure or something like that?
This book is released under Creative Commons, meaning you may use this book to produce your own material for it and sell it as far as I care. You cannot reproduce the rules under this Commons license we have. You cannot just take the book and reprint it, but you can use it as a source material, directing people to pick up a copy of this for the rules. I don't make a penny off it. I don't care. That's your world. It's not a franchise. It is just what it is. Just let the dog in, man. My God, poor guy. Let him
No,
in.
he's downstairs barking at leaves.
Well, the tyranny of leaves must be. We got to stop them.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
evil leaves.
yeah.
But yeah,
Or
so I
somebody.
have no problem. Somebody has ideas they want to publish, get right ahead. Have a great time. Fill your boots. I hope you
Okay.
make more money than me.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've received rejection letters from my submissions and things like that
Yeah,
before
submit shit. I don't care.
before the OGL thing happened, and now things are a lot different. Let's put it that way.
So one of the things that annoys me in modern day publishing are the publishing licenses, where all these companies are trying to make money off of you now. So you're going to go out and publish something, and they're like, "Well, you got to send it to we have our creative group now on through RPG. It's a this, it's a that." And every time I read their stuff, there's this little number that gets right up my ass, which is between 10 to 30% of sales they want, on top of the 30% that Drive Through RPG takes, and then whatever you're paying to the IRS or whatever your tax man is. And it's like, well, there's not a lot of apple left for me after all is said and done. If I and like Dungeon Masters Guild, anything you publish, they have the right to republish. It's really their material. You're just being allowed to make money off of it. Well, I don't produce adventures. I don't make monsters. I make campaigns. I make settings. I make lore. I'm not giving you my lore. It's my lore. That's my IP.
Hmm.
So I'm not interested in any of those publishing deals. I looked into all of them. No interest in them. Zero.
No, with the way Amazon does things and being the biggest market out there, they've been good to you.
I hate their payment schedule. They pay you 60 days after the sale. So right now I'm accumulating decent. Sold 43 copies of the book on Amazon so far. And I'm waiting for that money because I need that money to pay artists for Heroic, right? So I'm just staring at
Mhm.
that little number going up, going, but I also priced this thing super reasonably. I looked at the cost per book on Amazon for the print. I chose Amazon because Prime and therefore people in the US, the UK, Europe, Australia, Canada can get reasonable shipping. When I
Mhm.
wanted to print up a proof copy of this, I was going to do it through Lulu, and it cost me more to ship it to myself in Canada than it did to pay for the book. I was like, "Funk you very much. We're not doing that." So I
Mhm.
and
Right.
Doc Flamingo, who we both know and is a friend, he used
Mhm.
Amazon, and I talked to him. I got some of his brain pickings, and I went, you know what? I'm going with Amazon because I can produce a book for $20 that you can buy in your country, or the equivalent of like €20, £20. I know they're not the same number, but that's the number I picked. And if you have Prime, they're going to ship it to you for free. If you don't have Prime, they're going to ship it to you for the equivalent of like $5, $6. Like Amazon shipping is not expensive, right?
Mhm.
Where Lulu, the book, they wanted to charge me 20 something to print it. And then they wanted to charge me another 25 or $26 to ship it to me. So my $20 book suddenly became a $40 to $50 book. And I'm like, no, that's just not reasonable. That's unreasonable. I'm not doing it. So for people who want to buy it, you can get it on Amazon. I can give you links if you want them, but it's
Yep.
much cheaper.
You know what? Go ahead and post the link in the private chat. I'll put it up, and then I'll put
I'll
it up
give
also.
you US, since I assume most of the people here are going to be US. If not, in this link, you're going to see it says amazon.com/DP, and that's going to have a code right after that's the link. You can just change the .com to .uk, .ca, .au, .eu, whatever it is for your local Amazon, and that other code at the end should take you right to the same place, by the way, just within
Yeah, because
your
like I told you, I had some difficulty finding this.
That's
Uh,
Amazon. I'm nobody, right? I haven't sold enough copies to get into their algorithmic state, so it's just going to get lost in the way their search words work. But use the link, go for it. You'll have fun.
well, it was weird because I said role playing game, and the name of the role playing game, and the things that came up had nothing to do with role playing games. Then I looked for your book, your other book, if you want to mention that
Oh,
as well,
Covenant, my novel. Yeah,
and that's how I was able to find it, going
that's
through the back entry.
well. Like I said, if you take that link and you change the Amazon.com, change the .com to .ca, .uk, .it, or whatever your local Amazon is, it'll
Mhm.
take you to the page for your thing. Yes, Coco, I feel you, brother.
Yeah, I did my 1,000 subscriber giveaway uh, announcement this morning,
Oh,
and
congrats on that, by the way.
thanks. We're actually 23 over in like less than a week, so we're
Hmm,
actually making some really good progress. But
nice.
I can't afford to send things out to other folks outside the U.S. It's
Too
not
expensive.
feasible. I wanted to send something to a friend of ours overseas, and they wanted more than the actual item cost, and I'm like, I can't do that. It's just not just money, but principle. It's like I would be better off just sending him the cash. Go find it. If you can find it, you know,
Yeah,
awesome. But I don't think he can, which sucks. So I have to do something else to make it up. But you
yeah.
know, that's how
It's
these
the
things
world we
are
live
right
in,
now.
man. It's the world we live in, sadly. Sadly. But
So,
anyway, yeah, so you can get it on Amazon, use your Prime shipping, and it won't cost you more than $20 or 20 of whatever your local currency is. I mean, yeah, I had to use a currency converter because it's like got SEK for people in Scandinavia. And I'm like, well, how much is $20 in SEK? So what I did was I just set my profit margin as the exact same amount in every country, and that gave me how much the local currency was, and then I just rounded that off to a whole, so everybody was paying one flat number and not like 22.39 euros. I was like, just 20 euros. There we go. We're done. Eh,
because I bought a lot of things from Amazon in the way of games and things like that, and Yours is the cheapest one I've gotten. The only one I might actually play because I'm not. Well, I'm not going to say who, but run it. I don't think I could do that. But they they were pretty expensive in comparison for a similar number of pages. And mind you, I haven't those things that I bought was like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, I'm not. This is a good deal. So if you're fans of the face rip system and you know how to do it, and you're looking for something like this is a steal. I mean, to be honest, I kind of wish you would ask for a little bit more. To be
20
honest,
bucks, 250
25,
pages,
but
lots of material. So you need your glasses if you're an old man like me to read it, because I wanted to
Mhm.
fit the most stuff in. A complete campaign setting. I mean, I'm it's like my Patreon, man. I just give it away. I'm not here to make a fortune. I'm here to make enough money to keep making stuff for you.
So, what can folks expect? Going forward, any more Valorous projects on the in the works?
I'm working on an adventure called Goblin Gulch. Basically, there's a Dyson Logos map called the Goblin Gully that I have run so many times in D&D that it's just a map, and then you expand it and you fill in the details yourself. And I made this thing and I ran it, and I've killed a metric crap ton of PCs and D&D with it and all that fun stuff. So I thought, you know what, let's adapt it for Valorous. Let's make a new map and call it the Goblin Gulch and take the story I've put into it and make it more. And so I'm working on that now. Don't know when it's going to release, but the whole point is it's a good starting adventure where a group of characters are brought together to help a local lord who is having problems with goblins and what might be a plague outbreak, and they will go through the adventure and hopefully figure everything out and save the barony, save the county, whatever it'll turn out, whatever I read it as in the end. Ran a version of it at Claricon a couple of weeks ago, and it went really well, and it was really fun, and people seem to really enjoy it. I ran a speed run of it, to be honest. I didn't make it as big as I would make it for a starting adventure, because I'd want to explore stuff like the downtime and stuff like that that's in the game in a more of an adventure. But that's something that's going to come. That's not going to come. And on my Patreon, I'm going to be doing more NPCs and rules and monsters and things like that people can get into, and maybe even one-shot adventures, what have you. So there'll be lots of stuff like that. So the Patreon link, if you want to go, it's $5 a month, and you're going to get more material than you know what to do with for $5 a month, especially for heroic. $10 a month, I've got some stuff that I do for them, post only for them, but I also have some stuff that I'm doing for them to make it more worth their while. We had been doing something, but the person that was doing it for me had to back out due to pressures of life. So we have to find more ways to make the $10 people happy. But overall, and if I can get that, it's at $4.79 a month now. If I can get it to $500 a month, it will start paying for the heroic art and layout and eventually print costs I need to pay for. So become a patron. Friends, Romans, countrymen, give me your cash, But I
Go
don't
through
believe
and
in just taking money from people. I believe in giving you something for your money. So go ahead.
you probably heard this already, but more monsters would definitely be a plus.
There are
Uh,
100 monsters in this book.
mm,
I just decided specifically to do 100 monsters, no art for the monsters, but every monster has a description, so you can actually try and titillate the imagination of your players with the
mm,
descriptions. And that way you don't just show them a picture and go, hey, this, you see this. So for
mhm.
example, we'll pick something that's, oh, here, a sky siren. What's that? Well, sky sirens lure travelers from mountain paths or ships at sea. Beautiful and cruel, they revel in admiration, turn to despair. Description: a winged woman with wind-tossed hair and eyes like stormlight. Her song is both a blessing and a curse. Well, how are you going to make that come to life in your campaign? Do your job as a storyteller, do your job as a narrator, do your job as what's called in this system a judge, and provide them a description as opposed to going, you see this, like I find that's where we've gotten with a lot of games. We have
Mm.
so much art available that we've gotten lazy.
Oh, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
if we get back to describing stuff, we immerse our players in the moment, and then they imagine it in their head, and it's always going to be better than any piece of art.
Not only that, but you get the opportunity to not necessarily mislead them, but let their own imagination take them someplace that maybe you didn't expect, or get them into more or less trouble than they thought. What's up,
Well, exactly.
nerds?
Hey,
You know,
nerds. And hey,
back
Alric,
in
by the way, thank you for pitching the Patreon there as well, buddy. Thank you.
back in the old days, we didn't have the internet or computers to use at our beck and call for games. Maybe you might have some books with some images, but for the most part, we didn't show that stuff off because there was a good chance that your local rules lawyer would instantly know everything about it as soon as you showed that particular image of that particular monster.
Oh,
It'd be like, oh, I know exactly what it is. Guys, break out the this or that, do this or that. No, 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 no. You don't know shit. I could be
exactly.
making up a monster. You'll never know.
Yeah. So that's what I
So
did. I gave you 100 monsters, all of them meant to be unique to the kingdom of Caldara and the setting of the world that it's in, not generic. There are green skins; those are regular goblins. There are blue skins; those are frost goblins. Things like that. Like I made sure to make it for itself. Well, you could read this too, Cal. It's a good game. Or join the Patreon. Just read the lore if you don't want to read the game.
So, what was your favorite part of writing this?
To be honest, getting all of the setting lore down finally. It had been kicking around in various posts and concepts and thoughts over the years. Finally settling down. I had written two novels that are never been finished. Like they've been finished, but they've never been edited in the world already. And then taking all of that, taking all the music I've created for the world, all the lore, and finally putting it into a place where it's all here it is. This is the stuff. There you go. That was probably my happiest thing was figuring it all out, right? And taking crazy ideas like, what is Tharvin? What is salt wine? What are these things that I keep talking about? Well, putting a little description.
Yeah, I noticed something when I was reading early in the book that you likened everything to, uh, for lack of a better word, romance. Between two people, kind of thing.
Okay.
Very often, I noticed that you were describing things, like kisses and things like that, things that weren't kisses but like kisses. Um, why do you think that was?
You ever read any Arthurian legends, my boy? You
Of
ever read any
course,
Lord Dunsany? You ever read any
yes,
what's it, Prydain? You ever watch the
no.
Black Cauldron? You ever read the
No,
Belgariad? You ever read
I,
Piers Anthony Zant
I haven't.
series? The
I did
one
read the Sand
thing,
series.
the one thing Lord of the Rings has always been missing for me is the romance.
Oh, absolutely. It was a total sausage fest.
All legends we read, all myth and all that, there's always this romance aspect, right? There's always this like the
There
guy
should
falls
be.
in love with the thing in the woods and it turns out to be the goddess and the queen and the pauper and all. I love that stuff. That stuff is great.
Me
One of my
too.
favorite parts of the book. Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
probably the only guy who's ever, really talked extensively about the romance aspect in RPGs that should exist but doesn't, and how to not make it weird,
Yeah.
because it's completely abnormal and unnatural between Tolkien and the bros in the community that can't behave normally when it comes to such things, between men and women, or relationships, or however you want to look at it. That it's just they get all creeped out or weirded out, and I'm like, but yet you'll read or watch complete strangers on TV, movies, or in books doing all the things that are normal. The one of the most primal driving forces of all life is that coming together to make more life, and to
So
pull that
yeah,
out.
Conan the Barbarian, 1982. Right. My two favorite scenes in that entire movie, and I love that movie top to bottom. My two favorite scenes: that moment when they do the montage of Valeria and Conan, and she looks at him with this look at one point while they're doing the music, and she just clutches him to her chest, showing in this one scene this hardened, cynical woman suddenly discovering what love was and how much it meant to her. And later we find out how much that love means to her. And that scene when she's saying to him, let's just walk away. I've never had more than this in my life. I used to walk by tents seeing people inside them, and let someone else walk by our tent now. That romance is what drives it. And we all think it's a revenge story, right? It's all about, oh, it's revenge against Thulsa Doom. No, it's not. It's about her coming back from the dead to save his life. it's a love story, and people don't see it as a love story because there's so much blood and gore and violence and high-minded philosophy. But at its core, there's a love story there. Warlord, Travis Morgan, there's a love story there.
Oh yeah,
These things are really
shirt I'm wearing.
important. Okay. Any
It's just
release date for Craven, the Evil Campaign add-on module to Valorous? Well, when are you going to write it, nerds? Once you
right.
write it, we'll release it. How's that sound?
What about Gimli and Legolas?
Yeah,
I'm pretty
exactly.
certain that wasn't
I think that's more
what
of a
that was.
bromance, sir. A bromance. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's what was going on.
So you have to
Uh,
remember, Shadow, I'm a dirty, filthy story gamer, right? I think plot is
as am I.
important. I think characterization is important. And if you just want to go kill shit and take his treasure, there are shelves and shelves and shelves of books available for you to do that. But if you
Mhm.
want to play a story game where the story elements of the game actually have mechanical parts in the system itself, Valorous has got it's got you covered. And yes, I agree, Max von Sydow's speech. But what is his speech about? The love for a father, the father's love for his daughter, right? It's about relationship. It's about that. What are we gonna do?
And most people, most gamers have you know ripped that right out of the entire concept of role playing gaming, and it so quickly becomes something that might as well just be a video game
Oh.
playing by yourself.
Are there any girls in there? I want to do them. Ay, ay, ay.
Hmm.
As we say in French, c'est pas pour
And
moi.
yes, we know Cal. We know Cal. Normally he's in a
Cow.
speedo when he games. Um,
Thank God
so
I don't know what you look like, Cal, so I can actually visualize that any way I choose. And I'm visualizing that as you look like, I don't know, Sydney Sweeney in a Speedo. There we go. Hey, I'm happy and content with that image in my skull now.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
actually I did a one on one with Cal a long time ago. It was about time too, Cal. I'd known Cal since like the earliest days of our channel. I mean, we were like maybe double digits, and he and another guy got Jackie and I to meet all you guys, and we've never been the same or right since. Um, last
None of
question
this.
from the pre-generated list that I always ask: are there any folks you'd like to thank who helped you out writing or making this or getting this to where you are now? Anybody you want to tip the
Hmm.
hat to?
I have to tip the hat to everybody I've ever role played with. Number one, because they helped form me who I am as a storyteller and as a content creator. I have to very much tip my hat to Mr. Welch, because without him, my channel would never have grown. Same thing for
Louis, Mr. Welch.
Mr. Welch. He's a YouTuber. He does all the Mystara stuff.
I've never heard of him.
Oh, you should look into him. Mr. Welch, great guy.
Okay.
Also, Tex from Black Pants Legion or whatever it is. He's the BattleTech guy. He came on my show in the early days, got me going. People I've written with, people I've worked with, Mike Lafferty, Walter Billiard, everybody on the Discord, everybody who comes to my channel, every Cody, Brian, you, James, Hungar, everybody. I learn from everyone I know. Even Connell the Cigar DM, I learn from everybody I know. And every interaction with them, nerd, you name it, helps me form more and more as I go. So I owe everybody a thank you. There's no one particular person to be like, you, sir, you are the one I owe the most thanks to. Thank you kindly. My lands and daughter are yours. No, everybody's taught me something. I've learned from everybody, good and bad.
I was mostly expecting to hear, the folks that I've met watching your games and things like that. They all seem like a great bunch of people,
They're
and
all
nobody
great.
could do this alone. You know,
No,
it's not the old days, where you're Hemingway and you know screw everybody else. Right up into the end. Um,
yeah, no, I don't drink enough to be a Hemingway.
Pardon?
I don't drink enough to be a
Oh,
Hemingway.
yeah. Yeah. Plus, I mean, look where it ended, right?
Hell of a story, though. Hell of a story.
Okay, what is
Shane, I owe Shane everything because Shane's the guy who does half the hard work for me. So Shane, if I had to single out one person, I suppose it would be Shane.
Shane? That's the way it's supposed to be. I thought that was our secret. That's the way it's supposed to be. you're supposed to be able to. I mean, if you're gonna call yourself a role player, or if you're gonna try and embrace the hobby to some extent, you have to look at it as and behave as a real living, breathing creature, human, elf, dwarf, whatever. You have desires and wants and needs, and it's not just for pure gold and treasure and power that gets you only so far. You become a very one or two dimensional character or cartoon. So good on you, those folks that do that. Now, speaking of characters, I
Mm-hmm.
got some ideas, but I want you to, for the sake of everybody listening, uh, pretend I'm slow.
Well, I don't
And
have to pretend I know you, man.
yeah, uh,
All right. So
again,
listen, this is not a fast character creation system. You don't roll a
nope,
bunch of dice and then instant character. It doesn't work
nope.
like that. It's you're expected to put time and effort into your character before you make them, because the idea is that you should be able to play the character for a long time. Yes, you can get killed in a fight. That can happen, but they're guardrails to help you survive things more. Not to the point where you're, oh, I'm untouchable. No. You can die quickly in this game. But it's not an endurance test. It's not an OSR, as they used to say, fantasy fucking Vietnam. The idea is that you're making a character that you're
Or a
going to
funnel.
play, or a funnel. You're going to play a character that you want to explore. You want to see where they go. So that's the first thing. Now, do you have? You said you had a character sheet ready.
Yeah, I
Okay.
copied what was in the book and
All right. So I'm going to have to do this as
left
best
room
I
for
can.
stuff, but I better find a
I don't know if we
pen.
can do this in an hour and 15 minutes, but we'll try.
That's
Uh,
okay. There are things we can, there are obvious points we can stop and come back next week because I would like to see this through. And like I did with um, Doc Flamingo, he was making up the character as I was making up the character, and he kept the characters to use in his game.
oh yeah.
If you see any merit in this and you want to put him in as an NPC, or if you like it and you got an opening later on down the road, I'll
Oh,
be more than happy.
There is a Valorous live play coming, starting in a few weeks, and it's going to be on Saturday afternoons because we got a one player from the UK, so we wanted to match his time. I don't know if you're available around that time, but we do have one seat open. We wanted to reserve it for a female player, but Nerd refuses to play. You have long, pretty hair. Maybe you could play. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not shaving the beard, dude.
I didn't ask you to. All right. So the game is based on the old Marvel superheroes engine, adapted and updated by me. The first two things you need, there's two very important terms you need to get familiar with: RS, rank shift, and CS, column shift.
I thought it was the other ones, the
No.
action
Let me
value.
explain. Let me explain. So rank is the intensity of what you have. So things are ranked from uh, the bottom, which would be feeble, then poor, then typical, then good. And they all have a number attached to them as well. Um, hey, James. Um, you know, good, excellent, remarkable, incredible, on up the chain. Those are the ranks. So when you have a rank shift, it's either positive or negative, right? So a rank shift. So let's say you had a good 10 strength and you had a +1 rank shift. Well, now it's excellent 20 because it shifts up one rank. If you had a negative, it shifts down to typical 6, down one rank. So that's what a rank shift is.
Mhm.
A column shift is an old term that carries over from Marvel. When you're on the color chart, now they're not columns here in the chart because I wanted to make it easy to print. I do have a version that's more like a column thing for people who are pedantic about such things. So everything starts at shift 0 here. And if you get +1 column shift, you go to the +1 CS, +2, plus blah, 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 all the way up to +9. But if you get a -1, you drop down and things get harder. On the chart, you have the pewter result, which is a failure. Anything between pewter and copper is white. It's a miss. You failed. I didn't put white on the chart because it wasn't necessary. It is on the bigger chart. Then you have silver, which is so copper, partial success, silver, full success, and gold, enhanced success. And this used to be called green, yellow, and red on the superhero side of things. I can show you because the cat is sleeping on my messenger bag that has the print ups. Unless I have one. Hang on. I might not. Let's see if I do. Because I printed up a bunch of stuff for Claricon, but I don't know if I printed up the charts. No, they're in the bag. Sad to say. Sorry, can't show you a physical copy because I'm not disturbing the cat. He's being quiet, but I can show you a digital version. And for anyone who's played the old Marvel Superheroes game, you're going to recognize this thing that I'm about to show him as soon as I find it under images. There it is.
You rock, Cal.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you kindly. James, by the way, played in my play test at Claricon, so he's the best person to tell you whether or not this game was fun or not. Okay, sharing an image with you right now, sir. So this would be more like what you're used to of a column. We have the shift 0 in the middle, column shifting down, column shifting up.
Yeah, it's way more complicated looking.
It looks complicated. It's really not. At the bottom, at the top, we have the ranks going from Feeble 2, Poor 4, all the way up to Cosmic 5000. Trust me, most stuff's going to be around in the fantasy version around the Remarkable 30, Incredible 40 range. And then down here, we have what are called feats, a feature of extraordinary ability or talent. Feats are things you can do: a blunt attack, a dodge, an evade, a grapple, try to escape someone grappling you. Oh, you got hit hard enough that you might get knocked over. Well, make a slam feat, to see if you're knocked over, if you're knocked back, or whatever the case may be, etc., etc., etc. And that's what this is for. And this is a digital file that you can get if you buy it on drive-through. You get a copy of it, what have you. So once you understand what a rank shift is, so the intensity, or +1, -1 to an intensity, a power level, or a column shift, easier or harder to the thing. Those are the two things you need to know. They're the cross index of it all. The action value, what you're talking about, this is where how the core of the engine is. Remember I said everything starts on the shift 0 column, right? When you are trying to do something, there is a resisting value to it. So you take your active value, you compare it to the resisting value, and the difference between the two is either plus column shifts or minus column shifts on that chart. So for example, you have an excellent 20 fighting, and you're trying to stab James, who has a remarkable 30 fighting. You compare the two, you are 1 column shift lesser than him. You roll on the -1 column shift table to see if you can hit him. That's how it works. Now, he has stuff he can do. He can try and make it harder. He can try to parry, block, dodge, whatever the case may be. But we're just doing the basic idea. So once we have that in place, we're good to go. So your attributes, your strength, dex, charisma, blah, 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 are called fighting, agility, strength, endurance, FASE, and reason, intuition, psyche, which is willpower, and dynamic, which is effectively your presence.
Oh, I missed that one.
So those are the 8 attributes you deal with for everything you do. When making a character, you start with, all of them are at typical 6. All 8 are at typical TY06. So you don't even have to write the name. You just put 6666666 until the end of time.
What's up,
Cinder? Equivalents between heroic and valorous? Could I bring a heroic? You can bring a heroic character over, but a lot of them are going to overpower the world of valorous because that's a superhero game and it's meant to be wah. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit.
Is this a correct analysis? Oh, like the World of Darkness, kind of, but you aren't rolling 10s for successes and failure?
Yes and no. It's a color chart game, so you're rolling to see what level of result you get. So let's say, for example, just picking it really quick. Let me grab some dice here. Hang on, Shadow. I'm gonna take out my schmexy dice for you just to make it even better for your you having me on here. I'm gonna take out my ridiculously pointy and expensive resin dice. All you need are percentile dice, 2d10, and let's say I'm trying to hit him. Okay, so I'm on the -1. We're trying to stab James. On the -1 table, if I roll 2 or less, it's a fumble. If I go 50 down to 9, take care, Coco Man. It's a miss, and then we get the other color results. So I take my dice and I roll them. Boom. And I get a 96. What a great roll. Well, 96 on the -1, if I cross index, is a silver result. So I hit him, and I hit him fully. I didn't clip him, I didn't destroy him, but I hit him fully, and I apply my stuff from there. It sounds more complicated than it is, and you can teach anyone to play this game in 10 minutes. And again, I would point out to James in the chat, who played at Claricon and had never really played it that before, and he was there with other people who'd never played it before and watched how quickly they got it. And within the first 5 to 7 rolls of the game, people were starting to pick things up and go right ahead. Okay, so you start with typical 6 in all of those. We got that done. You wrote down 6 in all 8 stats, Shadow?
No, I didn't.
Well, I believe that would be helpful if you did.
Got it.
I wasn't planning on doing this, so I'm just trying to get to the right places. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick your origin. Now, your origin is essentially the species you are, your race. So the question is what race of character do you want to make? What origin?
Obviously, high elf.
You want to make it there? Well, there's no such thing as a high elf.
What
Again,
are they called?
this is set in its own world. Hang on, I'm getting there, dude. I got to scroll through a lot of stuff in a PDF to get there. You want to be an elf. So the high elves are called high elves, but they're called Elonir, which are basically, these are the basic elves. So we use sizes like they do in D&D. So it's a medium-sized character, blah, 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 blah. When you're making your character, you get +1 rank shift to your agility. So your agility goes from typical to good right now. You get +1 rank shift to your reason. So typical to good. And you get +1 rank shift to your psyche. So now you should have everything typical except your agility, your reason, and your psyche would be 10.
I just wrote good, but okay.
Well, just you put 10, good, whatever it is. A high elf or drunk elf. There you go. Okay, so now you have to write down your racial traits. Now, racial traits have 3 letters they can have. They can have P, M, or S. And that was not on purpose. I didn't write PMS. It's just they're physical, magical, or social, right? Those are the way these traits work. So you either got them from being born an elf, you got them from the magic essence of being an elf, or there's something your culture, you're growing up amongst elves, taught you. So you get dark vision, which lets you see 60 feet, and that's a physical one, so dark vision. So you can see 60 feet in dim light, as if it was normal light. That's a racial trait. The next racial trait you get is called Warded Mind, and this is a magical one. This gives you a +2 column shift to resist charms or being affected by illusions. Next, you get one called Astral Grace, which is a physical one, a P. You always land on your feet when falling 20 feet or less. But on top of that, you notice there's a place on the sheet called proficiencies. Well, these are like skills.
Mm-hmm.
You gain the proficiency either athletics or performance, and then you have to choose what type of performance it is. And you get it at novice rank, which means you get it at 5%.
I'm taking athletics.
Okay, so put athletics 5%. And then the next racial trait you get is called Celathir's Gift. Celathir spelled CELATHYR''S. This is a magical one, and you get to choose one tier 1 arcane spell from the general or glamour schools, and that's later in the book. And you may cast this spell once per session without having to make a casting roll. All magic, they have to make a casting roll before they do anything else. And those can fumble, those can fail, and they get harder as you go. But we're not making a magic user today. For the love of God, that's really complicated to do on this fast. And then you have to pick one. There are 2 possible racial traits you can have. You have to pick one. One is called the Scholar of Spires, which gives you proficiency in Arcana and History, or Light of the Lineage, which is once per session when your health is 10 or lower and you fail an endurance feat, you can re-roll it. So you have to pick one of those 2. Either get 2 proficiencies at 5% or get a once per session endurance re-roll if your health is 10 or less on a re-roll feat.
Go with the once per session.
Okay, so that's called Light of Lineage. Let me know when you're done writing that down, and we'll continue. All right, you get the following proficiencies. You get the language common at 5%. I won't try and spell this one for you, so I'll just give you the English translation. You get Silver Breath, which is the language of the elves, at 11%. And then you get one other language of your choice at 5%, usually a scholarly or arcane language. So we can just mark it down and pick it later. You have one extra language to take, 5%. You also get Arcana at 5%, History at 5%,
Give me a
and
second,
yep.
because what I'm doing is I'm switching between pen and pencil, writing the
Okay.
number in pencil.
You do you, man.
Because I'm
You do
assuming
you.
it's going to go up,
Yeah, yeah.
or
And the
could
last
go.
one you get is Etiquette at 5%. So lore, history, sorry, Arcana, history, and etiquette. You get all of those at 5%.
5, 5, 5.
And that's it. That's all your racial stuff. From here we move on. The next thing you need to pick is your culture and social status. Everybody has a culture they come from, everybody has a social status they have. But when you pick your social status, there will be boons and banes that come with it. So don't just think, well, I'm going to pick noble. Well, there's stuff that's
Oh
going to
yeah.
happen if you pick noble. So in the cultures you can pick from, there are the following that can be chosen from: a nomadic culture, a tribal culture, a seafaring culture, a wheeled or forest-born culture, an urban culture, grew up in a city, a pastoral or rural sort of farmer culture, or a deep dweller culture. So
So
that's the first.
noble and seafaring.
Okay, so you're going to be from some weird cult of seafaring elves that aren't in the game, but we'll add them in for you. This weird lost tribe of elves. Okay, so as a seafaring noble, we talk about captains, dock magnates, or sea lords. They command ships, trade routes, and crews with salt water in their blood. You get to add +1 to either your dynamic or your reason. Which one? And that'll make, depending on which, it'll go up. So which one do you want to put up? Your dynamic or your reason?
I'm going to go with dynamic since reason is already bumped up to good.
So this goes up to good as well. It's now 10 for your dynamic. You get to choose one of the following proficiencies at 5%: navigation or persuasion.
Navigation.
All right. And you get the following gear: fine clothes, light armor. You can write that all down later. It's not going to be that.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into equipment purchasing now, but you'll have
No.
some stuff you get from that later. I don't know where my boons and banes went for this. Let me go back and see. I might have skipped over something. Ah, yes. So as a noble, you must choose one minor bane: arrogant, entangled obligations, or out of touch.
Entangled obligations.
So entangled obligations: once per session, a courtly duty or family demand complicates your plans. Now that could be anything. That could be diplomatic stuff. It could be anything. We can always play with that in game and have a good time with that. But you also
It
get a
actually, that's
boon.
why I picked it. It sounded like something. Oh, I wrote them in the wrong place. So
That goes. So you have a section called boons and banes. That would go
yeah,
under
I'm just going
bane.
to switch. I
Yeah.
wrote it under the wrong column on my sheet. I picked it because I
Hi,
thought that
James.
would be something you could use to move the story along
Sure.
at given moments, as well as a reason to break up the story, like you were doing with the heroic game the other night when they
Sure.
played the card, and you just to
Yeah,
thanks, James. Just to uh, mix things up and give the GM opportunities to do stuff. I thought that was
absolutely. And that's perfect.
the
So
other
you
ones.
chose
Everybody's
noble.
played the arrogant bastard, and uh,
It's all the way it is. The out of touch character. It all makes sense. So you also get a boon called noble, and noble is you're born or elevated into privilege. You gain +1 column shift on all influencing feats in formal or courtly settings, and that's why you choose the minor bane to offset it, right?
yeah,
So basically, on all formal or courtly settings, it says influence. It should say dynamic feats. I apologize. There's a nice typo. I'll have to fix in a second edition of problem. But it's all dynamic feats, all social feats in a courtly setting. You get +1 column shift because you're a noble, and that's it. That's your culture. So next up, we pick your background. Backgrounds are essentially what you did before your hero's call brought you to seek a higher status and a higher purpose in the world, right? And these are they're long. And I'll just go through the list as quickly as possible. We know which one you're going to pick at the end of the list is going to be sailor probably, but you never know. There might be something
no,
else you
that's
like.
actually not the one I picked.
So okay, then tell me which one you picked instead of me reading an entire list to everybody.
I believe it was spy.
Spy. Okay, so you live by mask, lies, and shadows. So you get to add +1 rank to your dynamic, which was good. So now it goes to excellent 20. And you get to add +1 to any other one of the 7 remaining of your choice.
Well,
Intuition would be important for a spy.
yeah.
Fighting, agility, very important for spies.
I'm gonna go with the fight because I don't know that I'll get more opportunities for that.
Okay.
So that goes
So,
that goes
your
to
fighting goes
good.
from typical to good, right? Is it good
Yep.
or typical right now? It's typical to good. Okay. You also get to pick either the proficiency deception or sneak at 5%.
I'm gonna go with deception.
Okay. And then you get one more language at novice. So you can just mark down language and
And
there's a whole bunch
deception
of
was at
cultures.
5.
Yeah, 5%. These are all at novice. Yeah. I think. Hang on, let me
Okay.
double check. It's been a while since I've made a character because I do them in thing. Yeah, you get your proficiency choice at novice.
Okay, and another language. We can do that later.
Yep. And then there's some other equipment and money you get, but we'll worry about that another time.
Sure.
So now we've got your background. We know where you came from. We're going to pick your professional overlay. This is sort of your character class, but it's not. It's just meant to get you like, I want to be a knight. Well, here's the stuff a knight would have. You can also, there's an entire base system for how to make your own if you wanted to make your own, but you can just pick one that's easier. Did you already read through and pick one?
Yeah.
Which one did you pick?
Spellbinder.
So you wanted to make a magic user. The most complicated thing to make for the first sample character.
Hey, I want to drag this out for more content.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be doing a second show on this because he decided to be complicated. Kel shock. All right, Spellbinder, you son of a gun. With a Spellbinder, where the hell is Spellbinder? Mystic. Spellbinder, there it is. I didn't, by the way, something you guys will notice when you buy the book, nothing is in alphabetical order for the most part. That's because I want you to read. I want you to read because you might learn stuff by reading as opposed to just going to what you wanted and then moving on. I know, what an asshole I am. I was a teacher.
Yeah, that's how we had to learn.
Exactly.
You know, we didn't have everything at a push of a button or, Siri or, Alexa, what's this, Oh my God.
All right, you ready? Here we go.
Absolutely.
So Spellbinder is a book bound or symbol marked. The Spellbinder has begun their long, perilous journey into the mysteries of the art. Whether as an apprentice or a stern master or a lone dabbler, apprentice to a stern master, I am dyslexic, or a lone dabbler, reading scraps of forbidden text, the Spellbinder wields power that unsettles both friend and foe. Now, there are 3 primary types of magic in the setting and in the game. Spellbinders, channelers, and sorcerers. Spellbinders use recipes. Channelers beseech external powers to get magic through them, and sorcerers bend the universe to their will. This relates in a number of different ways, but one of the primary ways is weariness. The more spells you cast, you don't have a limit on spells per day. You have a limit on spells you might know, but the more spells you cast, every spell after the first, other than cantrips or low 0 tier spells, you have to make weariness checks to make sure you don't get exhausted from doing this. Well, spellbinders, because they use recipes, get a +1 column shift to resist weariness on their spell casting. Because, hey, they're just following a recipe. They're not trying to bend the universe to their will. They're just doing this. If I do this, the universe does that. Beautiful. You get +1 to your reason and +1 to your psyche. So your reason is currently good, I believe.
My reason?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good.
So now it's excellent 20, and your psyche, I believe, is typical right now. So it should be good 10.
The reason goes to, sorry, I just switched.
Excellent 20.
And intuition?
Nope, psyche.
Psyche, okay. Goes to
good 10.
It was at good 10.
Oh, so it goes to excellent 20. You get the following proficiencies. Let me know if you have any of them already. You get Arcana.
Yep, already have it.
So you had it at 5%, and now you have it at 11%.
Okay.
You get Literacy at 5%. Helpful.
Didn't have that one. Literacy 5.
And then you have to pick History or Lore proficiency at 5%. If you already have one, you can make it 11% and be extra specialized on that one.
Lore or what?
Lore or History.
I'm going to go with History, actually.
Okay, and you can decide what that history is later.
And that's at 5%.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Next, we get into the cool stuff, which is talents. And talents are basically they're like feats in D&D or what have you. They're cool shit your character can do because of who they are. And you get the following talents: spellbinding, which is necessary to cast your spells;
Okay.
decipher, which is for, deciphering shit;
Learning how to do more of that.
and scroll casting, which allows you to cast spells from scrolls.
Gotcha.
And then you get a boon and a bane. Your boon is alert, and your bane is cynic. But you can change the minor bane if you don't like it. If it doesn't fit your character, you can always swap it for another minor bane because it's
No.
minor on this one. And then you're going to get a bunch more equipment that we can deal with at a later time when you do the finishing touches on your characters. Then we go into the final parts of this, the hero's call. The hero's call is a random roll that determines what made you turn your back on your old life and head out into the wider world to become a hero, essentially.
Okay.
There's 3 tables you can roll for on the hero call. You pick one of them. There's the martial table, the magical table, or the general table. I'm assuming you want to use the magical table in this one.
It sounds more accurate. I mean,
All right, give me a
I
percentile
did have
roll.
a question. I mean, uh, in a lot of games, magic abusers can't fight to save their life.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any restrictions like that
Nope,
whatsoever,
none.
which is the way it should be. Because if someone wants to take the time to learn how to do a thing, they should be able to learn to do the thing. And learning one thing does not mean you can't learn a completely opposite thing at the same time or later on down in life, and find a way to amalgamate the two talents into your life. We've all
Mm-hmm.
had jobs that you know were maybe counterintuitive or you know diametrically opposed to other things we've had to do in life, and it didn't kill us, and we still made it through.
Sure.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
But I am still going to go with the mystic table.
The
But what I
magical table.
wanted, yeah,
You don't get to pick. You got to roll, brother. You don't get to pick. It's a random roll.
okay.
I mean,
Just
you can
so
pick if you want. Which one did you pick? Because I know you wanted to pick one.
no. What I was going to say is I want you to roll, just so there's no because I saw some really good ones that I would be like, oh my god, I would abuse this,
All
and
right,
I don't
I'm
want
going
to
to
do
roll.
that. Okay.
We got a 54. Yeah, 54. 54. The calling voice. You alone heard the voice. You cannot silence it. It drives you into places others fear to tread, which gives you
Cool.
the following boon: approachable. So you are a cynic, but you are also approachable. But you also get the bane nightmares,
Yes,
and that can really mess with your character's head. So
I
that's
can play
there.
that.
Okay. The last thing we have to do are what we call the final touches on the
No
character.
nerds.
So we're going to do your final touches now. So, and then we're going to come back and do something else after. But I want to get the final touches out of the way. Bones and I'm just going through all the stuff you got at Boons and Banes and what have you. And then I'm going down to the final touches because you get to buy some stuff that you can choose of your own free will. Oh my God. I hate doing this in a PDF. So we're going to do it in the book. Character creation, 10 steps. 10. Apply final touches. You get to add +1 rank to 2 abilities of your choice. So fighting, agility, strength, endurance, reason, intuition, psyche, dynamic.
Okay,
But remember,
let's
there are racial limits, so be careful on that.
right. I'm going to go 1 on intuition. That brings it up to good 10,
10?
correct?
Okay. Yep.
And then endurance.
Which is
Also,
currently
it was at 6.
okay. So I got a good 10 endurance. Okay. So now I want you to add together the numbers of fighting, agility, strength, and endurance. Your FASE. Write that together.
So,
Add that together. What's the total?
just the actual number,
Just the numbers.
10, 20, 36.
36. So your health is 36. You have 36 health points.
Okay.
Now add together your RIPD, reason, intuition, psyche, and dynamic.
That's 70.
That's your mind.
Uh-huh.
That's your mind pool. That's how much mind your character has. A pretty smart guy, pretty healthy mind. Add those two numbers together, we get 106. That's your starting karma.
Gotcha. Let's make that
Now,
look.
divide your health by 10 and round it down, please. So
So
3.
3.
Yeah. Divide your mind by 10 and round it down. That gives you 7. You now have, and it's not a lot, you have 3 proficiencies. So you see when you go to the proficiency section of the book, there's all those proficiencies.
Yep.
And the ones you already have, you have 3 points to spend on physical ones and 7 points to spend on mental ones. None can start higher than 15%.
Okay.
That's something you're going to want to reflect on later. Take a look, make sure you get everything right. You don't want to rush into that. This is why I say it's not a fast character creation system. It's a system of making choices.
Kind of what I'm thinking there, Cinder.
What did he say? Swashbuckling Bane. Nice. Your legend starts at 0 unless you take a Bane or Boon or a talent that gives you any, but you don't have any of that right now. I believe I allowed you to pick one talent, but I might be wrong. Oh no, it's Banes or Boons. You buy Banes or Boons to get it. So now the last thing you're going to do, and eventually you're going to want to read through all the spells, pick your school of magic, all that based on what your talents do. But you can take Banes and Boons right now, like at advantages and disadvantages. And I'm just trying to get to the section of the book that explains it.
That's actually very generous. Is there a limit to how many?
Yes, it's written right in the thing. Let me get to it. Hang on. Okay, backgrounds, Magic Heroes Call, proficiencies. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go back to my room. Boons and Banes. So you have the exchange system, right? Boons are purchased using points. Banes provide points to buy them. A minor boon costs 1 point. A moderate boon costs 2 points. And a major boon costs 3 points. But they give the same back. So a minor boon gives you a point. A Bane gives you a point, a moderate Bane gives you 2 points, and a major Bane gives you 3 points. You may take as many boons as you can pay for with Banes. You cannot start with boons unless you accept at least 1 Bane, and boons or Banes are obviously always up to the judge's discretion.
Question. So if I took 3 minor boons, I could take a major Bane?
Yes, absolutely. If you took 3 points of minor boons and major, but hang on.
Okay.
You can also use Banes to pay for other things. Right. 1 point for a +1 to a single proficiency, but you can never add more than +5 to a single proficiency in this manner. 1 talent for a basic talent costs you 2 points. For an advanced 3 points, and you have to meet all the prerequisites as well. And legendary talents cannot be purchased in this way. And you can raise a primary ability by +1 rank shift for 3 points. And it can only go up as high as the origin limit for your character. Here are your limits and guidelines. These options may only be purchased once each at character creation. So you can only raise 1 talent, 1 proficiency by 1 talent, or increase 1 primary ability. You can't go on a spending spree to make your character into a godlike character that can not leave the house because everything's trying to kill him. You may use the remaining points to purchase boons as per normal. You may not begin with unspent points. They must all be allocated. All purchases require judge approval and must suit the character's background and concept. And the system does not replace or interact with the later advancement system. It exists purely to express how struggle shapes a hero's beginning. So that's something that you would have to do by taking time to read the stuff. Read the Banes and Boons, read the talents, read the proficiencies.
To stop making the character.
Yes.
I didn't. I thought there were the possibility of some sort of elven seed people, whether it's river, ocean, somewhere along the coast or some such, maybe a family.
Just because something doesn't exist in the explained kingdom of Caldara and the explanation of the world around it, this is not a completely fleshed out world. So now you've given me something to think about, right? Now I want to go and create a race of dragon ship elves that are out there sailing the high seas. These sea elves, as you were, right? So I get to do that now, and that's something that's fun. So through this conversation with you, we've expanded the world of Keldara one more little step, or the kingdom of Keldara. The
And
world is
I picked some of the things that I picked because not just because they were cool, but I thought they would also make for an interesting individual who had wasn't your typical Dirk Daring or Elric or had contrast. I was thinking maybe that because of his station in life that his parents probably used him as a courier to go
sure.
back and forth, trying to pick up information.
Sure,
Be
and
that
he's a spy, so they want to keep their location secret, so they don't. He has to go into ports in disguise with a hood and everything, so they don't see that he's an elf on some weird ship. They try and then when you get there, you have to go to the elves and talk to them. Don't forget, there's also city elves in this world. They're like
so.
elves who have abandoned their stuff. Hang on, I got to do something. I don't normally do the performing monkey. You know that. I definitely don't do performing monkey, but it's funny enough that I'm going to say it. This is for you, Rooster. And valorous heroes are shaped not only by what they learn, but by the strange fortunes and burdens they carry. That is the closest you're going to get to a Bane voice from me. You're welcome. You have a Bane. You're only born into it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's George.
anyway,
In case you don't already know, he's the guy who does all my thumbnails, and he and I are going to do a
Rooster
show
Games is
together.
George.
Yes,
Oh, hey, George. I know George. George comes to my stuff all the time, too. Hi, George.
George is a great
He,
guy. Yeah, I hope
he
he's got his
seems like it.
paintbrushes ready because in a few minutes we're going to go and do
Great.
some painting and talking about the food apocalypse. But this was a distinct pleasure and honor. If you
It
want
was
to use
fun.
them as something, if you want to, leave a space open for me one of these days,
Well,
awesome.
I distinctly recall giving you an offer to join this bi-weekly Saturday
I'll
game.
have to check because you're is it going to be the opposite alternating Saturday thing?
Yes, it's every other
Okay,
Saturday.
okay.
And the other thing you have to watch out for is we're going to be starting probably the latest would be like 11 a.m. your time on the Pacific, maybe even 10 a.m. because we're dealing with people, of course, overseas. So we got to
Depending
match their
on
time.
depending on the alternating weekend, because one weekend I go grocery shopping real early in the morning, and then
I'll
the
tell
other
you
one
right now. Hang on. Oh, no, it's not in my calendar. I thought I put it in my calendar. I did not put it in my calendar.
you can
Um,
tell
and
me
no,
later.
so we wouldn't be starting this Friday, this Saturday, the 8th. We'd be starting next Saturday. Oh, that's the heroic game. Sorry, it's alternating Mondays. Derp, I'm an idiot. So it's the opposite Monday of the Guardians. So it would be this coming Monday, the 10th, would be our first session.
Maybe I don't do anything Monday except watch the show Monday
And
evenings.
we start at 8 p.m. So you'd be starting at 5 p.m. your time.
That's what time we started now.
All right, I'll add you to the Discord group, and I will finish your character because everybody's playing pre-gens. So I will make your character for you based on what we discussed and give you a whole bunch of stuff. Okay?
That works.
Yeah,
Don't
make it
mess up
easier
my
on
DM
everybody.
Shadow.
Don't say
Your
that.
DM.
He's your DM. Shadow's your DM.
Yeah, I DM for him on Sundays.
Well, isn't that special?
Mhm.
Isn't that special? Well, there we go. Anything else? Any questions you want to ask? Anything anybody else wants to say? Otherwise, it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah, you know, I play a lot of different kinds of games, but there some depending on the people and of course the rules, etc. I don't get to do as much role playing as I like. Nobody's fault or anything like that. It's just you got to read the room. Some games it's just not a thing. Others it is, and those are sometimes kind of rare.
I hear you.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't give two craps about the the monsters and the money and things
Yeah.
like that. Uh, and I want to actually have a story to tell. It's so hard. Over the years I've been in tens of thousands of games, but depending on the people, you can't really tell the story after the fact because it's just numbers and stupid crap like that, and that's like that's not a story. We went into the dungeon and blah blah blah, and we got the treasure. It's yeah, but what why? Why did you do that? Oh, just cause
Well, and this is the idea, right? So basically, this is the concept of what we're doing here, which is Valorous.
What's
The
up, that thing? Go.
entire concept of Valorous, which is done, Flady. You can buy it on Amazon. Shadow can throw the link up for you again if you like. The entire concept of Valorous is this is not a generic fantasy role playing game. This is a game with a setting and a purpose, and that
Yes, thanks,
purpose.
Cinder. The link is up in the chat, and just for those out there, if you get one of the copies where the cover is cut off, so it's just there's no blue on the end of the S
You'll be able
there.
to tell the sword hilts go off of the page in the misprint. If you get that, Amazon will replace it right away. Just contact them, and they'll let you keep the misprint, which is only the cover, so you'll have a table edition.
Yep, which I now have, and one of these days I'm going to get this one autographed by you, and it'll go into the library.
Come to
And
ClareCon next year.
I'm really trying, dude. I'm really trying. There's so many good people there that I want to be able
And
to
I'm
shake
going to be
their hand.
running Valorous and Heroic. I'm running a Valorous session and a Heroic session at next year's ClareCon, health withstanding, of course, obviously. And then if I get it done between now and then, I'm also going to introduce the sci-fi version, which is freebooters. So that could be
Yeah, that
something.
sounds fun too. That sounds fun too. You know, it also kind of depends on the game. Like some games just lend themselves more to actual story development in the game, and it's amazing the people that I've run into that either love or hate it. It's always kind of interesting and sometimes kind of depressing at the same time. Uh, when you hope someone is going to be more into the one or the other, and but sometimes you get lucky and you get into a really really good game with really good people, and everything just gels.
I agree.
uh,
I agree.
Better have dolphins safe.
Yeah. What about tuna safe dolphins? Huh? What about them?
So like ice pirates.
You could do something like that. There's a whole universe I created, a whole galaxy of stuff, and I will get around to it. It's already been shown on the Patreon as a part of the Heroic universe because I wanted to do the Guardians of the Galaxy part of the Zenith universe, but I
Mhm.
realized I had originally done that as its own independent thing, and I'm going to repurpose it all to do the Freebooters as its own independent game setting and not the Zenith universe. Even though in the Zenith universe all that stuff exists. Oh, parallel worlds! Oh my god! It's so comic book.
So before we go, what do you got going on for the rest of the week? Anything you want to tell people about your regular shows and things like that
It's
for newbies?
Thursday, man. We got the top 50 on the music channel coming up on Saturday night. Get your votes in. If you haven't voted yet, I'll be sending out reminders tomorrow to people so we can get these. I like one set of votes for the top 50 so far. And that's it for this week. And then next week, we were supposed to have a game last night. We can't. We were supposed to have a game tomorrow night, two hero games, but because of someone being ill, we had to postpone them. And then next week, it's going to be all music all the time, except for the Monday night Valorous game. But actually, we're going to stick around after the show's over for a quick second, and you and I are going to have a quick conversation about something because I got a better idea for you.
All right. Well, then
No,
we'll
if
see.
Lady Heroic is still not shipped, we're in art and layout, and that's why we released Valorous, was to raise money to pay for more art and print costs and everything else. And I've done a post on the backer kit about it with a link to a YouTube video that's only for the backers, explaining where we got into and what happened to all the money and all that fun stuff. And it's a ride. It's a woo. So Valorous, I did myself. I didn't rely on any money from anybody. I put it together. Thruxus came through by doing a lot of the art in the book for me for free, so that it has
Yeah,
something visual.
there's some really
That.
decent art in there.
Yeah.
Um,
But I also warn everybody, and I say it in the forward, we
yep.
used artificial intelligence generation on this. I used it to help me with the writing because I'm severely dyslexic, and we used some AI art to fill out the spaces. So there you go. And if you want more on Heroic and now Valorous, go join the Patreon, $5 a month. I'm constantly giving you guys material to make up for the interim, well, before we get the books out. So, I'm doing my best, guys. I'm a one-man band over here. Shane can only help so much before he's going to shoot me. So, it takes time. But I appreciate everybody's patience a lot with Heroic. But we're talking about Valorous.
And I appreciate everybody coming over and checking this out. And Cal, picking up a copy. I think you'll dig it.
Thank you
But
very much, Cal. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna end the show now because I need to do something. But we're gonna talk for a couple of minutes,
Yep.
and then I got to get ready for my next show, which I normally never do, but uh, special,
Back to back. Look at you.
plus James's show. I mean, geez.
Big day.
But yeah, you know, trying to do a lot of things and make a lot of people happy because I've been
Just remember to make yourself happy first.
that it makes me happy making other people happy and
All right. That makes you
having a lot
happy.
of having a lot of fun lately. So want to
As
keep
Cheryl
that
Crow said, if it makes you happy, it can't be that bad.
right. So everybody out there in TV land, thanks for stopping by, sticking around, playing along. I'll be back in like 30 minutes in case you missed me to talk about painting and stuff like that. Plus, I got to go check out the stuff I'm painting. But I'll see you guys also tomorrow morning, I think. I don't know. I'm a madman. Happy trails, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.